Welcome to This Week in Washington for Friday, July the 27th, 2012. If you've been following the news lately, you've learned that Congress has still been in session this week, working on issues that many people thought should have been taken care of quite a long time ago, and that others thought might never get taken care of this year. That's still up in the air as I prepare this note for you. During the last week, we actually saw the Senate pass legislation to extend the Bush tax cuts for another 2 years, but at the same time, reducing the tax cuts for people in incomes over $250,000 a year. This was a very big surprise that the Senate actually passed this because it needed Republican votes to close debate. The interesting thing about this is, of course, it is the center point of part of the president's reelection strategy and one of the ways that Congress could avoid the imminent disaster that would occur should the sequestrations that were enacted earlier this year actually go into place by December. You might remember that several issues ago, we discussed the potential for across-the-board reductions in various federal programs, both defense and non-defense, that Congress enacted as part of a budget deal with President Obama. In the last week, there's been a great deal of talk about the impact of these proposed across-the-board cuts on the defense industry, where Congress is concerned about the large number of layoffs and the significant impact on American businesses. Unlike the Republicans, Senator Harkin this week started a series of discussions about what the impact of these across-the-board reductions might be on domestic programs, especially those that we work with in the provision of community and public transportation. Of course, they would be devastating. Interestingly enough, there is some speculation that Congress is groping toward a solution that would include actually raising revenue and attempting to do that before they adjourn for the political season. Again, it'll be very interesting to see how this goes and very interesting to see if this actually happens. Last Friday, I was at a meeting with FTA Administrator Peter Rogoff and with the FTA Executive Director Matt Welbus. Chris Zeilinger and I went over to discuss several issues, most notably the situation with the need to get the procurement moving forward on the renewal of the National Resource Center coordination efforts and the National Ambassadors Program. We also used it as an opportunity to discuss changes in MAP 21, the transportation legislation, that gives the FTA administrator a great deal more authority over the safety issue in the non-rail transit programs, mainly bus and smaller vehicles. We brought up that our safety programs, which include certifications and also innovative programs like PASS, were created under an MOU that existed between the FTA, AASHTO, and APTA, when it was decided that by working together, we would develop programs that prevented federal regulations from being the primary mechanism under which safety efforts would be developed. We're very confident in the certifications we have and the programs we have. We're also very confident about being able to maintain these programs at an extremely low cost. So we brought those issues up with Pete, saying that we didn't want anything that he did on the regulatory side of implementing these new safety provisions in the bill to preempt the ongoing efforts we had and the good work that has already been accomplished by us and our partners in developing safety efforts. I was very pleased that he agreed that their efforts would be supportive and not replacements. Also, in the course of our conversation, we discussed the many MAP 21 changes that the FTA will have to make to meet the requirements in the new law relative to planning and service development and other issues. He will be publishing these, of course, in the forms of guidances, and plenty of opportunity will be afforded for us to comment, as well as all of you, about any proposals and major changes. It is going to be a challenge for them, and he's trying to gear up at the moment to meet that challenge. One of the final things we discussed with Pete was our continuing concern about the local share issues in public and community transportation that are caused by the recession not really ending when it comes to revenue from state and local resources. We talked again about the importance of human service programs, especially medical programs that have money paying their fair share of transportation cost. I think he's very much aware of our concerns in these areas and will continue to do what he can to support us in dealing with other federal agencies. And we brought up the need to maintain the ongoing technical support that we've provided in these areas, especially with our ambassadors. So it was a good conversation, and I hope that it'll be one of many as they move forward in the implementation phase of MAP 21. The last thing I'd like to report today is I know that all of you know that the Olympic Games get started tonight and will be going on the next several days, but there will also be an ACT conference in Savannah, Georgia that begins this weekend. Karen Souza and members of our team are there to help ACT through this annual meeting that will focus on mobility issues in the employment sector and helping people get back and forth to work. CJ will also be presenting there, Amy will be there, Charlie Dixon will be there, and even two members of our board will be making presentations, David White and Dick Doyle. So we wish all of them well in this effort, and we look forward to developing new ways that we can continue to work with the people at the ACT Network in facilitating more discussion about how we can all work together on the important aspects of employment transportation as the employment situation for many continues to change and the destinations for employment continue to change, especially in urbanized areas. So my final word for the week is stay tuned, and we'll see what develops with Congress. We are hopeful that there will be a compromise on the revenue side. Be assured that we will continue to mention the important element that mobility plays in providing any solution to the nation's future, whether it be jobs, growth, or employment. So have a great weekend, and goodbye for now. Stay in touch, and let me know if there's something that you need to know about before we talk again. Thanks.